So if you're a coach or consultant and you want a better and new way of acquiring predictable clients, then pay close attention because I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's actually something that I just kind of discovered unintentionally. And I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step 100K sales school system that not only have I been using to grow my coaching business at a rapid pace, but start to actually implement within my own clients as well. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Larry Antaporta, right? I've personally closed over 5.4 million in high ticket sales when I was a full-time closer. And I've done some cool things with other sales teams that I'm actually really proud of. So I used to work in corporate sales, right? I've helped 4 different sales teams as a sales manager scale to their first 7 figures. I've coached and trained over 50 plus sales reps, and at this point, over 100 plus coaches and consultants. So just a little bit about me. This is one team that I actually helped health and wellness offer. They're generating about 120 to 150K, helped them grow to over 384 in revenue in 90 days. And then here's one of my coolest past accomplishments was actually helping a new coach go from 0 to 100K in a span of 30 days. Now, what I mean by new coach is he wasn't actually a new entrepreneur. He was actually a veteran in the affiliate marketing space and actually launched a new coaching program. So I do want to make that caveat there. Here's a couple of cool people that I met along the space. My friend Andrew Caruzzi has built and sold a 7-figure coaching business, helped him out launch and actually scale Masters of Fate, his new 7-figure business there. My friend James Conti helped him with his ecom coaching business. And then my friend Nick Robbins here, he is a 2 Comma Club 8-figure entrepreneur with his old agency. And then just some of my mentors, Eli Wild, Eli Sanchez, Jeremy Miner, and my friend there, Icon. So that's pretty much just a little bit about me. Now let's get to the fun stuff and why you're actually here, right? So I'm going to show you how we're adding 10 to 30K per month by installing this sales school system. And I'm going to share the 3 key things that actually allowed us and our clients to scale effectively, right? Now there's 3 key things I want you to keep top of mind: the problem, the system, and the opportunity. So the problem is understanding the importance of this opportunity of Skool and what is happening with the shift in the market with low ticket memberships, right? Number 2, I'm going to walk you through my 3-step scaling protocol on how we're actually using our clients and using this thing called a community school funnel to scale them to 30 to 50K per month. And then last but not least, we'll end with the opportunity, what this actually means for you, how you can implement this in the next 30 days and exponentially grow your income without wasting a bunch of time on cold outreach or spending thousands on paid ads, right? So why should you leverage this as soon as possible? This is the number one thing that's happening that I don't think 90% of entrepreneurs and coaches are actually really tuning into, which is the market is shifting. It's shifting from a customer-based market first versus what it used to be, right? Which was a client-based market, right? I got into this high-ticket space back in 2019, and a lot of this high-ticket, like prescriptive approach was working back then. And what I've noticed over the past 5 years is it's starting to actually shift. And if you're not someone who actually takes advantage of this shift and you just allow it to happen, my opinion is your business is maybe not failing, but it's not going to be to the potential you know it could be. So let me take you back to 2024. In the beginning of January, right? My biggest issues in the business was my lead quality was pretty quote unquote shit, right? Excuse my French. Broke prospects who couldn't afford my price point were just hopping the calls. I need more sales calls. I couldn't afford to spend any money on more marketing or paid ads. I didn't want to spam and annoy people with mass cold DMs or emails, waste time posting a bunch of like this organic that just wasn't really creating traction when posting content and it wasn't leading to sales. And the worst part was my old Facebook group that used to pump out leads and opportunity just was pretty much dead. And the reach with Facebook was limited and it was awful. So there's this shift in this market, right? The old way that we've seen it before is just a transactional base. You're going from leads to clients, right? And oftentimes there's not a real system or environment to actually continue that conversation unless you're just following up super hard, right? And this mindset is like, a lot of the people nowadays are just proposing to get married, proposing to get engaged before they even actually get to date their prospect. And so prospects, the market is getting smarter. So what I have found is people actually want to be dated before they commit to getting married to a program, a coaching program, or a consulting service. So instead of going straight from leads to client, which is what 90% of the market is doing, there's the top 10% that are actually changing to leads, to customers, and then to clients. And they're tapping into the beautiful sales law of inertia, which is a prospect in motion stays in motion. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this when I actually show you the system. But what I notice is from 2020, it was a game of acquisition, right? Scale or die, paid ads, charge high ticket, get as many clients as possible, and then you reinvest that back into scale, whether for paid ads, team, or you're just pocketing more money. Now, the outcome, and it did work back in the day, and to some extent, it still does work today, but most people were trying to optimize for raising the ceiling, right? Breaking that 30K month, breaking that 50K month, breaking that 100K month. And they just wanted to break revenue months as quickly as possible. And while that was great, the high dopamine was like awesome to feel, the truth was it was not sustainable. It led to a lot of burnout for not just me, but a lot of my other, peers in this space. And most importantly, it was not scalable for the long term. So here's what I have discovered is the game has changed to a game of LTV, meaning retain or die, right? And so the new way to do things is actually create a low ticket membership, AKA customers, get as many customers as possible, then you ascend your best clients to high ticket, and then you reinvest it back into scale. So we're adding an extra new step to this, which is that membership. Now, this is not some new revolutionary thing. People have been familiar with like tripwires or low ticket communities or low ticket, courses in the past. But because of Skool and the opportunity Skool is bringing in, it's actually combining it for this storm of scale in a good way. All right. Because what we're doing is we're actually optimizing to raise the floor and break new revenue months sustainably. Do this in a healthy way. And here's the ugly truth, y'all. Your competitors, slowly, one by one, are starting to actually realize, at least the top guys are, right? And if you don't change anything, they're gonna acquire customers first, right? At a low ticket membership, and they're gonna have a disproportionate advantage to signing them on as an actual client, right? So this game of like, oh, we'll just follow up and nurture and hopefully they'll buy my high ticket client, like that used to work back in 2020, 2021, and even to some extent 2022. But what I noticed in 2023 was like this long-term game was just annoying for people. They actually didn't end up buying. And it's more about a game of speed to acquire a customer as opposed to a game of follow-up, hoping that you'll acquire them as a high ticket. That's wrong. That's a wrong answer. What ends up happening is your competitor ends up snatching them first, and all your follow-up process went to waste. They end up going with someone else, right? So with that being said, that is really the core problem that my system is really using to achieve. So I'm gonna go through and walk through the 100K sales Skool system right now. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the one thing, if implemented, would bring us closer to that consistent 50K plus months, right? Because I'm gonna show you guys what this is composed of, the 100K sales Skool system. It's first part, a free community through Skool, creating the community funnel there, having a low ticket membership. Generally, it can go as low as 47 per month. Really, the sweet spot can be around 197, 297, but I've seen it as high as 497 or even 997 per month, right? And then this is the most important piece, not getting rid of your high ticket offer, but actually combining it as like a 1-2 punch. The biggest mistake that people make is they see Skool, they get this shiny object syndrome, and they think, oh, I got to shift my entire offer suite to just focus on low ticket memberships. That's not it. That's not the answer here. And that's not what we're doing. What we're actually doing is how do we set up the 1-2 punch, the jab, 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 right hook, to then have a conversion mechanism from low ticket to high ticket. And that's the one thing that I started doing differently, that I started applying with my clients in my own business, that led to that scale to be effective, right? Not just raising the ceiling, getting new record months, but also raising the floor. So I'm going to show you guys the actual roadmap. So this is, where most people are at, around 10, 20K per month. Maybe you're making a little bit more of this, but I want to get to the point where it's like 30, 50K per month. I want you to imagine that, right? There's 3 key pillars to this that I've personally found and start to engineer. It's first is you got to have what I call that staircase offer suite. So similar to this, but there's some more elements to that. Second, you got to have the proper client acquisition system. So the client acquisition infrastructure with Skool, and a couple secret tips that I'm going going to recommend here in this video that really adds some fuel to the fire so that you can book more appointments, increase scale, increase LTV, and most importantly, upgrade not just the customers and get as many as that, but actually get them to become clients, because that, again, is the key part. And then third, having the team and placement infrastructure. So how then do I have a setter, a DM setter in place? So I'm not wasting my time hopping on sales calls for low ticket memberships. Actually have a DM sales process for low ticket. So you're never spending time on sales calls then, and only using your quote unquote sales calls with picking customers to become clients. And I'll explain that more in kind of the training and what that looks like. But that's really the roadmap, right? Here's the actual sales school system. Here's the funnel itself. First phase is the attention. So whether you're actually creating content in IG, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, wherever it is, we want to centralize all that traffic into one funnel, which is going to be Skool, your community funnel. Now, this is where you actually nurture them, but it's also where you acquire customers. And why that's really important is because back in the old days with Facebook groups, you were forcing everyone to go to Meta, right? So it was like, if people didn't want to go on Facebook groups or didn't want to go on Discord or didn't want to go on Telegram or any sort of other community, there was resistance there, right? But what I've been doing is when I funnel all my actual traffic into one place, and it's like the new thing that people want to actually join, I not only own that traffic by collecting emails, I not only centralize all those leads, but I tap into the compound effect, right? All my efforts from all platforms are actually compounding upon each other. That was the issue with Facebook groups, is if someone who was a little bit younger didn't want to hop on Facebook groups because they didn't have a Facebook profile, then it just wasn't going to work, right? It was very much targeted to the older demographic, which is fine if that's your audience and your offer, but I want to be able to access all types of my avatars, right? The people who are maybe 20 to 28, and also maybe the people who are like 35 to 45, right? In addition, Skool has a really great DM sales process, right? If I noticed once Skool actually tapped into that DM process, that's where a lot of the sales were actually made, was in those meaningful conversations inside Skool. Not only can I educate them with courses, educate them with content, warm them up, and build and trust the authority, but actually convert those leads into customers and then into clients, right? From there, I started to develop and deploy this client acquisition infrastructure. So not just using communities with Skool, but actually deploying things like workshops, courses, content, DM sales. And one of the things that people aren't thinking about, evergreen 5-day challenges. So instead of wasting time trying to do these live 5-day challenges, I actually engineered a process where I could do it evergreen. And I don't have time to go into it in that video, right? Like this is just specifically the content, but that was the biggest thing, was one, the evergreen 5-day challenge, but number two, the actual workshop that was a 1-day live workshop that could liquidate all your efforts within those 2 to 4 weeks into a huge wave of sales and clients. Then from there, having a retention and ascension mechanism, right? The low ticket membership then led to the high ticket offer and the mechanism there. Now, I don't have time to go into all the cool things like that I want to, because in the sake of this video, it just doesn't have enough time, right? I'll explain the math and all that in another video, or if you want to chat about it, I can go into that. But I really just wanted to go into the actual system today. And if there's one thing that you get from this, it's to understand when you play this game where you create an actual system that allows you to compound all your efforts, not only do you save a lot of time, not only do you waste a lot of, or you avoid a lot of headaches, but you actually allow your sales, your revenue, your clients to start compounding upon itself, right? So real quick, I want to show you this live of one of my actual clients, Oliver. So Oliver, this is really cool. He has about 1.4 members. This is a free community right here, right? I helped him go about launching a mini course, as well as really just tapping into the opportunity here in Skool. So his primary content prior was just through email, right? And we didn't really have a way to nurture or funnel in all his opportunity. So what we started doing, and it's like, all right, here's the content playbook. Here's what you got to post. And here's the beautiful thing, right? This was 22 days ago. These are actual 2-step posts that allowed him to book calls, right? This was almost a little bit over a week ago, right? These are all opportunities, options for him to book in calls. And then all we did was I just helped him hire, train, and place a setter and go about actually just booking calls through this funnel. So it's literally as simple as just posting 3 times a week, getting a setter in place, And then most importantly, having an actual funnel to not just get them into book calls, but eventually those workshops, right? This is something that was super cool. So this was back in January. He was averaging about 15 to 20K cash collected. And within about a 8-week period, we got him to about 50K cash collected. So he had 35.5K cash collected in January. 15K were coming from other installments within that next week. And then 62 calls booked, 41 shows, 34 offers made, 19 closes. And then most importantly, a record-breaking month for him, right? And then from there, I just started to apply this to my own business, some of the things that I was learning working with him. So I went from 0 to 698 members from February to, today's July, right? July 8th, July 19th. And then I funneled them into a paid group from free to paid. And I have 28 clients going through this right now. And keep in mind, not all those clients are high ticket clients, but about 26% of them are high ticket clients that have over the past quarter that I've generated. And then most importantly, the rest of those guys are monthly MRR that's increasing my floor in actual new revenue month after month after month. So I'm solving the number one problem that a lot of coaches have, which is what I call that revenue roller coaster month, right? So that's the biggest thing is I don't want to just increase and get new record months, but actually go about increasing the floor so I have more predictability, I can have more consistency, and I'm not starting from scratch every single month. So with that being said, this is the new opportunity. This is the new gold mine. And this is why I'm so bullish on Skool, because Gary Vee actually said this, and he didn't invent it, but he said it and it really clicked with me, which is invest in the jockey, not the horse. And so when I saw Alex Hormozi actually invest in Skool, that was my signal. I was like, this is where I'm going to go all in for the next 1, 2, 3+ years. I see a guy with a track record like Alex Hormozi, and I'm going all in on this. In fact, I had joined Skool back in 2022, so it's not like I was new to this. But I realized there was this important moment, which is this crossing of the chasm moment that was happening, which is back in 2022, we were still kind of that early adopter phase, is the early market. So I was, trying to figure out how to make Skool work, and it just wasn't really producing the results that I wanted to. And what I had found is when I revisited it back in 2024, it had crossed the chasm. In fact, once Alex Hormozi started going into this, that's when it was like gangbusters. It had crossed the chasm, and now we're entering the very early point of this early majority. And if you actually tap into this opportunity now, you're going to grow with the rest of the market. You're going to actually tap into this gold mine, and your business is going to hit that 30, 50K and beyond. Because when you're riding that wave of something that is also growing, you're just going to make everything so much easier. You're going to save so much more time, and you're going to tap into a small percentage of this huge pie that's happening. In fact, I actually was a setter back in the day with clients and community. So these are awesome guys, Landon, Chris, Jaden. Those guys are awesome. And what I had made a mistake, which was I'd actually discovered Facebook groups back in 2019. I was actually a client of theirs before I became a setter. And just by this one thing alone, Facebook groups, they made an 8-figure business. They had the 2 Comma Club award. And I'd left the team by the time they got the 2 Comma Club award. These guys are freaking awesome. But they're not any smarter than you. They're not any better than you. What they did is they were just really opportunists. They saw the opportunity of Facebook groups back in 2019 and 2020, and they rode the wave. And now they had an 8-figure business that evolved over the past 3+ years, right? And the same opportunity, I didn't want to make the same mistake. I realized the same opportunity is here with Skool right now. And you have one of two choices. You can either be like me, my old self, who was dumb and didn't ride the wave of Facebook groups fully, right? I had a Facebook group that was over 1,000 people, but I never rode the wave properly, right? I never built that 6-figure plus business with Facebook groups. I was just too distracted with a bunch of shiny objects. But when I really decided, I was like, man, this is the one thing. Skool, this is the next Facebook groups. This is the gold mine that's actually going to build the next future 6, 7, and maybe even 8-figure business. So I want to pose the same question that I posed myself, which is you have two options. You can continue doing the same old methods and lose out on clients and the market share to your competitor, aka slow death to your business, because here's the reality. The market's not changing back to high ticket. The market is only going to be more customer-based focus. And so as the market continues to go this way, you're either going to have a slow death by 1,000 cuts or you can adapt. And option two, which I highly recommend for you to consider this possibility, is to adapt to the new market and way to acquire clients and become the leader of your space. And here's the thing. If you want to learn how to actually implement this stuff for your business, it's up to you. But I recommend that you schedule a 30-minute game plan call and session with me so I can share more in depth some of that 100K sales system with you. Now, here's the thing, y'all. At the end of the day, I'm just going to be very upfront. If this can be implemented to your offer, we're going to do 3 key things, right? We're going to have a chat. I'm going to audit your business for any bottlenecks preventing you from growing. I'm going to give you a step-by-step free game plan on how to implement this thing. And most importantly, we're going to create 3 clear action items for you. Now, from there, we can really just decide together, right? Do you want to do this yourself? Great. Go ahead, implement. Be part of this gold mine. Or if you want my help to do this for you and work alongside building this out step by step, A to Z, doing the same thing that I did for Oliver and myself and some of my other clients, then we can talk about that too. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, what type of person do you want to be? Do you want to be the leader of your space? Or do you just want to be, death by 1,000 cuts to your competitors? So if that's something that you want to be, you want to become that leader in your space, you want to learn how to implement this in your business possibly, then just reply, let's chat to me, right? I'm going to have a link also below to actually have that quick 30-minute game plan session. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about some cool insights to put in your business. And most importantly, we're going to see if we can actually make this an opportunity for you. So with that being said, that's all I have to say. Let me know if there's any else you have questions on, and I'll see you on the other side here soon. Cheers.